What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 9. So as the week does progress, I'm reminding you guys once again, this is a Friday night deadline, at least my time, but it might be dependent where you guys are around the world. All you guys have to know is that the deadline is going to be on Friday wherever you are, so please make sure that your guys' alarms are set so you don't miss the deadline. A nice fun way to kind of remind yourself is going to be the deadline stream coming up 1 hour before the deadline. So if you guys have notifications from my Twitter page or my YouTube channel, you guys will get a reminder when I do go live. But if you guys can't make this stream, as mentioned, just make sure that you have your own alarm, as I want no tears come Saturday morning when you guys do miss the deadline. With that being said though, I'll be going over my team selection currently with 2 potential transfers, as a lot has happened this midweek in terms of the Champions League and players missing training. So I'll be doing a quick recap of how Game Week 8 went now that the points have been finalized, and there were a few nice changes come that Monday finalization. Then I'll be jumping onto my transfer plan as well as my final team selection, all eyes on the triple cam seat chip. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick recap of how Game Week 8 went, this score was actually different to the transfer plan. I got an extra point. Now if you guys didn't see what happened over the weekend, Heung-min Son was awarded an assist, which was corrected, and therefore Kulusevski went from 1 bonus to 2. So I was quite happy with that change as a non-Son owner and obviously as a Kulusevski owner, so that took us to a total of 43 points. So nice little green arrow as the average wasn't that great this week, and we are approaching that Game Week 10 where I will be announcing where my overall rank is currently. But let me know in the comments down below, did this kind of overall rank change of Heung-min Son affect you much? Was it a great week, a bad week, or a terrible week? I've literally seen every variation over on FPL Twitter. Hopefully it was a green arrow at least for you guys, as I was pretty happy with the team's performance. So where did those 43 points come from? Well, actually on our bench, 1 point came from Van der Ven for Saka. Just quite happy that at least one of my defenders on the bench did end up playing, as Greaves ended up being injured, which was quite a surprise. Fabianski, Chiwomi, they won't feature at all unless there are some injuries. So I spoke about Van der Ven and that Spurs defense in the Ultimate Guide. The stats look good, but the clean sheets haven't been there. So obviously the 1 week that I need Van der Ven, he loses the clean sheet, but I guess that's 1 extra point. Now goalkeeper was Flecken, who actually got 4 points, a ton of saves. Just wish he kept the clean sheet against United though. He did however concede 2 goals, so it probably was worth conceding, but I think he made a massive 9 saves, which is incredible. So him outperforming someone like Araya was going to be a very nice addition to this game week, and Brentford has some great fixtures coming up. Now back line, it's probably going to be a bad week if both Arsenal and Man City, probably 2 of the best defenses at the moment, both lose the clean sheet. So Gabriel and Arsenal once again conceding a red card, which led to the 2 Bournemouth goals. I don't have an excuse for the Man City defense. Just seems like they can't buy a clean sheet at the moment, and Guardiola had to save us with an absolute banger for a 10-pointer. So I was pretty happy when both Guardiola and Rico Lewis started this one, but it's been quite stressful owning so many Man City defenders. Then with Gabriel, I guess it wasn't his fault, it was Saliba's for the red card. I kind of feel like it would have been a clean sheet if they stayed with 11 men. Now moving into the midfield department, we've obviously just spoken about Saka. We had some news of potential travel, but there were a lot of rumors about it. I think Game Week 8 was one of my most favorite FPL Twitter weeks. We had so many rumors, ultimately leading to the fact that Saka didn't even travel. So Van der Ven for his 1-pointer came off for Saka, and when another premium like a Son or Salah are absolutely banging it, this was quite a disappointment. Palmer was also pretty disappointing, but I guess this was against Liverpool, who at the moment have some of the best defensive stats. Mbeumo also blanked against that United team, whereas Rodgers and Kulusevski came in clutch. Kulusevski was probably one of the heroes of the game week, outperforming Brennan Johnson, at least matching him over the 2 game weeks. Sometimes not being able to afford the more expensive option does turn out nicely. Does lead me to quite a headache though, because I guess if he blanked, he'd be an easy transfer out, whereas now I'm questioning it. Then finally up front, ending with 2 blanks of Haaland and Dom Solanke. The Haaland blank stinged a bit more as he was our captain. So we spoke about Haaland loving his haddies. Well, this is the 3rd back-to-back blank that he has had, scoring in the Champions League, but that doesn't help our FPL team. So that was quite disappointing, but I guess his effective ownership was going to be sky high. Don't think there's many of you out there that went without Erling Haaland for the past 3 weeks, but if you did, you're probably going to win FPL. 43 points is a bit closer for us to win FPL. Not the best game week in the world, but at least a green arrow. As mentioned though in the comments down below, was it a good, bad, or great week? Have seen some pretty low scores though over on Twitter. But now let's turn game week 9 over and we're going to be going over our current team selection. I just want to give you guys the context before we talk about my transfers. On the right hand side you guys can see I've got 2 free transfers but 0.0 in the bank. So we might use one to shift some funds around. Now the bench this week, for me personally, it kind of picks itself. I've put Gabriel on the bench against Liverpool at home, as I do expect them to concede. I can see probably both teams scoring in this fixture, and therefore I want to put Gabriel on the bench. Fingers crossed he doesn't score a bullet header again. Then with Greaves, he might still be injured, but even if he did, Brentford's not a great game. And as an Mbeumo owner, I'm fairly confident they score. Then Fabianski, Chiwomi both won't feature, and I'll be rooted to my bench most game weeks. Now we spoke about those Brentford fixtures kind of improving. Well, this is the game week for Flecken and Ipswich at home. Surely great clean sheet potential. So let's see what happens. This is one of those weeks that I bought Flecken for, so hopefully he does do well. Then because Gabriel's on our bench, I've got Van der Ven in the back 3 against the Crystal Palace team that are struggling at the moment. So even though Spurs aren't keeping clean sheets, their defensive numbers are the best in the Prem. I'm just waiting for them to kind of showcase it. Now Van der Ven might actually be on the way out for a more attacking defender, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now Man City double up is going to return once again. Fingers crossed they both start this one, as Southampton at home is one of the best fixtures in the Prem at the moment. Now I'm pretty confident that Guardiola will feature after being rested in the Champions League, but Rico Lewis's 90 minutes does worry me slightly. Now I get it that he is quite young, so the rehabilitation time, the recovery time is going to be quite low, but does worry me about a start on the weekend. I guess let's wait and see what Pep says about the kind of fitness of Kyle Walker, because if he's back, that does put Lewis's start in doubt. If Lewis doesn't start though, at least we've got Gabriel on the bench. Not that against starting him, as I don't own any Liverpool attackers. Now midfield department, talking about that kind of Liverpool fixture, we've got Saka at the moment, who apparently has trained. That's the latest update we've gotten. It's kind of around the theme that Arsenal are hopeful that he will be back this weekend, but I doubt Arteta gives anything away tomorrow. We simply can't trust him. If he says Saka's fit, he's probably missing, and vice versa. At the moment though, I've used no free transfers as I was looking at kind of getting as much news as possible, so let's see what happens tomorrow. A play I'm pretty happy to own though is going to be Cole Palmer against Newcastle at home. Newcastle's defense isn't great this season. So let's see what Cole Palmer can do. Hasn't been great since I brought him in on the wild card, but the ball's in his court with this easier fixture. Mbeumo against Ipswich at home is one of my Campsy options. Really think he could go large in this one. We kind of spoke about the 3 promoted sides, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton. You guys have to target them. So to have a few players in my team against them this week surely should lead to some good points. We then have Rodgers against Bournemouth, who are better from an attacking point of view to a defensive point of view. And if you guys have watched Morgan Rodgers at the moment, he's absolutely electric. Just a great kind of young player that's developing under our eyes, and is an absolute steal at his price point. So no pressure Rodgers, I've kind of hyped you up quite a bit there, but if he blanks every so often at the cheap price tag, not the end of the world. It might be the end of the world though if Kulusevski can't match Brennan Johnson, as this Crystal Palace game could lead to a few goals. Fingers crossed though if we do keep Kulu, he has a massive game. Spurs are playing tonight though, so watch out for any kind of minutes. Then finally up front, you guys can see the Campsy armband on Erling Haaland, but it's going to be normal, not the white color. So yes, at the moment, I won't be triple captaining Erling Haaland. I'd probably say honestly around 70-30 split. Just doesn't feel super comfortable for me at the moment. I know Erling Haaland had a great game in the Champions League yesterday, but I would have liked some more Premier League form over the last few game weeks. Now I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't. If you want to, go for it. If your gut is saying triple captain, I would do it. At the moment though, as mentioned, I'm a little bit split. I would actually be interested to see how many of you are going for the chip, so comment down below if you guys have activated it. I however still believe that Erling Haaland's the best Campsy option, and that's why I've got the armband on him. Fingers crossed his effective ownership isn't too high. Then the final player, Dom Solanke, isn't in the best of form at the moment, but Spurs are quite a free scoring side. So surely if Spurs keep scoring goals, Dom Solanke should at least be slightly involved. but has dropped a little bit deep in the past few games. He might be playing deep for Spurs, but for our own FPL team, he's leading the line and wraps up our full starting 11. Now, if you guys were to recommend any transfers with 2 free transfers, comment them down below, but I'll be going over my ideas. If you guys have any transfer plan dilemmas, comment them as well, or join my Discord server. That link's in the description. So going on to this transfer plan, and as mentioned, we do have a ton of kind of injury news that's come over the past few days, mainly with players missing training. So the major concern I have on my own team is going to be the fitness of Bukayo Saka, as he missed game week 8. Now the latest news we've got from journalists is that apparently he has trained and therefore should be available. I don't know how trustworthy they can be though. The nice thing about Saka is if we do get some training pictures, he's basically guaranteed to play, as Arteta loves to actually play him even if he's not fit. Now yes, even if he does feature, Liverpool at home is not the most optimal fixture, but Newcastle, Chelsea and Forest in the next 3 aren't too bad. I guess that's what it comes down to, is it worth taking Saka out and bring him back in a few game weeks time, as you probably want him for the medium term. Now the biggest news that has dropped is going to be my number 1 replacement, Heung-min Son, missed training this week for Spurs. Now although he wasn't even going to play the kind of Europa or Conference League game coming up tonight, missing training does lead me to believe that he might be struggling with this injury. If you guys remember, he just came back from injury in game week 8, and missing training is actually a pretty big deal in my opinion. So even though he wasn't expected to play the Europa League game, he probably was expected to train, and Ange mentioned that he was a little bit sore after the weekend. Now you guys don't have to worry if you do own Son. Ange is pretty transparent in his press conferences, and I'm pretty confident that Son should be fine for the weekend. Does worry me slightly though if this injury is going to continue. They've got Man City in the EFL Cup coming up next midweek, although I guess Son could be rested in that one. So yes, if we got kind of bad news on Saka, Son was my number 1 replacement, but at the moment I might just keep the Arsenal midfielder. Another potential replacement, a ton of news has come about. The first goal scorer for Man City last night, Phil Foden. It's that lovely Southampton at home fixture that's quite tempting. Now other big news was the fact that Doku and Grealish are going to miss the next few weeks, so surely Phil Foden is nailed in that starting 11 now. If only it was that simple. With Pep it's never simple, and I guess Foden could still be benched, but I would be surprised. The one thing that you guys might have noticed from my team selection or even my transfer plan is the fact that I already own 3 Spurs and 3 Man City assets. So yes, that's where the second transfer comes in. I have to lose one of those options to obviously free up a spot. I'll be keeping Saka at the moment and probably just roll the transfer, but if we do get news that Son is back and fit, I might take him out for this better next 3 fixtures. That Ipswich one at home is a great one to actually target, and I don't mind rotating my premiums over the short term kind of future. So let's just say that I do the Son move, I'll have to free up a spot, and therefore Van der Ven or Kulusevski will have to depart. My 2 favorite replacements are either Aït-Nouri or Garnacho. I think I'm slightly leaning towards departing from the Spurs defense, as there might be a few goals in these next 3 fixtures for Spurs. So therefore Aït-Nouri is probably my favorite option in terms of Van der Ven, but Garnacho might be more exciting with those great United fixtures coming up. Also want to put it out there that if we get news maybe Rico Lewis is missing, I could always go for full Foden, but slightly more tempted to keep the Man City defender. So this news does all depend on Son as well as Saka. Let's see if we get news tomorrow coming up. Now if you guys have any other kind of variations, comment them down below. I could always do a Saka to a Bruno Fernandes if I wanted to, and bank the next transfer. Let's see what happens tomorrow, but as mentioned, a deadline stream will be coming up 1 hour before the deadline, so if I see you guys there, I will be locking in the team. If you guys have any transfer questions, you can ask them on my Twitter page or the Discord server, both links in the description. Hopefully I see you guys for the deadline stream, where obviously you guys can ask all the questions you want to. Should be quite a good one. This is basically our video guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Notifications on for when I do go live. Hopefully I see you guys there. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.